trans?
No, there are influences in people's
why will
lives.
God all-powerful make someone so confused that they wanted to be trans? Well, actually, logically, it doesn't even make sense. If God is all-powerful and he creates a being, and then this being lives through their lives and then says, oh, I want to transition, God made them that way. If God is all-powerful, it's all part of his design. God wants people to be trans.
Well, there are societal, environmental
God created
factors
society.
I'm sorry. Kaya is so dumb. She just put her entire paw in the water bowl before realizing she put her entire paw in the water bowl and pulling it out. It's just so unrelated.
Ideology.
But
what I'm saying is a lot of these people would not have felt this way when they're born, but they're being pushed by society.
God created society.
To think that they're going to transition.
God created society and transitioning as an operation.
Good girl.
I mean, just where am I logically wrong? I don't see any logical conclusion that doesn't come to the idea that God made people trans.
I never said God made anyone trans. I just said that society and the environment around people influence people.
He's all powerful, right? You said he's all powerful?
Yes, God is all powerful, but also humans have influences on other humans.
But he made humans.
But this isn't going anywhere.
It's not, is it? Okay, let's go on. Do you believe that the Bible is against transgenderism, or what's your thought on that as a I guess a newborn Christian?
Well, you know, the Bible was written a long time ago, and there are things in the Bible, such as in the Old Testament, that aren't relevant to today's society. We know that. So we have to adapt what was written 2,000 years ago to the modern day. But you know, I'm not one for policing how adults live their lives. But I think, you know, transgenderism wasn't in the Bible because there weren't trans people visible back then. Of course, no. Look, I've even got this in my book. Even there was a Roman emperor that was trans. He used to dress as a woman. So we know there's instances, but I'm just saying in the Bible itself,
society influence him? Did society influence the emperor to be trans?
Well, I wasn't alive then.
Well,
but,
hold on. You wrote about it in your book. God dang, man.
Yes, but so there were some Roman scholars that were around at the time, and taken from their writings, he used to dress as a woman. He used to act like a woman, and his wife would have to call him ma'am. Now, I wasn't around back then, so I don't know the exact details, but he thought he was a woman. So, you know, maybe he could have been born like that. Some people are born like that, and they generally think that they're in the wrong body. So
you don't have an opinion on if the Bible...
TikTok made the Romans gay, Ethan. Duh. What the fuck do you mean? God, it's so simple.
The Bible was written a long time ago.
Yeah, then why, but surely, I mean, you know, why use the Bible as a guide for anything in your life if it was written so long ago? I don't understand that point.
Because there's many teachings in the Bible that are very, very positive, you know, about love and acceptance and kindness, and trying to help
I wish
humanity.
you were there to dunk on him.
It was written
Not
a long time
really.
ago, so like I said,
Ethan's doing a great job.
There's also a story about this, like sisters raping their dad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Old Testament
don't like that
has
one.
things.
Okay, I like your optimism. So
I'm saying the Old Testament has things.
We're not doing the Old Testament. Okay, cool. So we don't believe... Okay. I heard you, when you're on these shows, I noticed you talk a lot about this specific story of Jesus that inspired you, how he helped the lepers when no...
Wait, great question to follow up here is like, oh, so you don't like the Old Testament? Do you think it's appropriate to teach the Old Testament to children?
Right.
Well, I thought it was a good analogy because I felt like for many years I was rejected by society. I was treated like an outcast, just like the leper. So I thought it was a good analogy to me, actually.
I agree. It is a really good analogy. What other Bible stories do you like?
So there's the tale of the lost sheep in Luke, the parable of the lost sheep, where a sheep goes missing from a flock of 100, and the shepherd decides, should he stay with the flock or should he go and help this sheep? And he actually goes into the wilderness to help the sheep because he realizes that every sheep is one of God's children, so he needs to help them and be responsible for them.
Which verse was that? I want to read that one.
It's in Luke and Matthew.
Luke and Matthew? Do you know the number?
I can't give you the exact chapter, but you can look it up.
Is there any other Bible stories you like? I'm looking for good recommendations.
Yeah, there's also when Jesus met a Roman officer, and this Roman officer had a lot of power, but instead of abusing that power like many Roman officers did, he was actually kind to his servants. He had servants that were captured from battles, and they were working in his house, but he treated them the same he treated everyone else. So that's another great analogy that Jesus looked at people and helped people that helped other people, and kindness is very important.
Do you know the verse on that one so I can reference it?
I can't quote it off the top of my
You
head.
don't know where that one is.
But there's a lot of verses in the Bible, there's a lot of chapters, but I can tell you specific stories that I like.
Okay. I was just testing you, Ollie. You know what I mean?
I know.
I was just trying to test you. I was trying to do a fast one on you.
This
Yeah,
is
but I
very
want to
good.
ask.
Look, this is a really good technique that Ethan engages in, not to be all JCS, but what he's doing is like he's openly admitting that he's behaving in like a manner, and that he tested Ollie, he tested his interlocutor, and giving confidence to his interlocutor by saying like, "Hey, I'm rewarding you. You actually did a good job. You withstood my test, and you won." This makes the interlocutor feel confident, and also feels like inadvertently they are on the side of the interviewer.
A cardinal that I believe he died earlier this year, an Australian cardinal that was accused of some horrific things, and there's a lot of that going on as well. So that needs to be addressed, and I will call that out as well as calling out drag shows that are sexualizing kids, because all forms of child abuse, whether it's in a church, whether it's in a religious organization, or whatever, is wrong.
If you had kids, would you feel more comfortable leaving them at a drag time, story time, or with a clergy member?
If I had kids, I would actually be with them all the time. I wouldn't leave them anywhere.
You would never leave them?
No, because as a parent,
hypothetically, you don't have to do it. I'm just talking hypothetically. Would you feel more comfortable leaving them with a clergyman, a member of the Catholic Church, or at the the drag queen story time hour?
Again, neither. I wouldn't want to leave kids anywhere.
It's just a theoretical. It's just theoretical.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, even if it was leaving a kid,
right? But you have to choose one. Which one do you trust more?
See, I'm a helicopter parent, and you're watching exactly why being a helicopter parent is bad. She saw my mom walk past. She got excited and was like, "I want to go out there. That's my human chew toy, please." And now she's behaving in a manner that I don't like.
I have to leave my kids either with the clergyman or at the drag show. I don't have a choice. Something crazy is happening. They're right next to each other. It says, where do I leave my kids? Where do you think Barry should leave his kids?
Well, again, I wouldn't want to leave kids anywhere.
But Barry doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice. He's in this horrible predicament.
But Ethan, I'm not Barry. I can't answer that question.
Well, he's asking you for advice. Quick, Ollie, where should I put my kids?
You put me on the spot. I wouldn't, as an adult, I would say
Ollie,
oh, sorry.
Flick, I find it very concerning that you are hesitant to even answer that question.
No, I'm saying it doesn't matter whether it's a Catholic church, a drag show, or even an after-school club where it's, the teachers aren't present. I wouldn't leave the kid anywhere. I wouldn't leave the kid at some weekend activity, like a sports activity. I think the parent should always be there.
Right.
So it's not a question of a church versus, whatever. It's a question of just in general, parents should always be with their kids.
But that's not reasonable. Parents can't always be with their kids. I mean, that's
no. Of course, it's not always reasonable. But I'm just saying, in an ideal scenario, because look, there are cases that happen, many cases that don't happen. But I'm just saying, you've always got to be careful, because there are people out there.
Well, let's assume that you're a good Christian and you say I'd leave them with the Catholic Church. We've talked about the number of kids who are doing irreversible transitioning in America. It's very, very small. We're talking like 250 a year by my estimate. And that's based on government data. I know you dispute it. There's a recent report that came out in France, and the reason I bring this one up is just because it's the most recent and comprehensive one. It's quite disturbing. This came out, I believe, in 2021, called the Independent Commission on Sexual Abuse in the Church. It was a huge government commission to look at this openly and honestly and try to figure out what's going on. 2,900 and 3,200 clergy members were involved in sexual abuse of minors during that period in France. Okay. It's estimated that they abused around 330,000 kids. Now, if you do a percentage of that, and this is really kind of surprising to me, and tell me what you think. Assuming there are around 15,000 to 20,000 clergy members in France at any given time, the percentage of clergymen involved in abuse of minors would be 15 to 20%.
Yeah, that's absolutely horrifying. And also, there's in Ireland as well. There was a lot of abuse that was covered up, and no, it doesn't matter.
Seems like that affects more kids.
No, that is equally wrong. Whoever exposes kids, it doesn't matter whether it's a church or not.
Raping a kid is equally as wrong as going to a drag show?
Look, it's equally wrong if someone abuses a kid. So that's what I'm saying here.
Okay.
So if a kid is being abused,
is there any history of a child being abused at a drag show?
When drag shows are sexually explicit,
is that the same as raping them?
That is also child abuse. I'm just saying, if a drag queen performs a sexually explicit act in front of kids, that is abuse.
If we're worried about the kids, we're looking, you're a member of an organization, which by my estimate, which again, it's just an estimate, but 15 to 20% of the clergy members are sexual predators. Why is it that you're focused on the drag shows and not the Catholic Church, when per capita and the volume is way more in the Catholic Church?
Well, the specific organization, Gays Against Groomers, is focused solely on the issue of indoctrinating children, exposing them to sex. If it was called, Catholics Against Groomers, that would be focused on that issue. But it's a specific issue. Not every organization can focus on every issue, but their job is to expose a specific issue within a specific group. And granted, like you said, there are, in France, there was in Ireland, some horrific cases. And, it's the job of the Pope and the Catholic Church to vigorously investigate that, because it's disgusting for any person, whether a clergy member or not, to abuse a child. It's absolutely wrong, and it should be investigated to the full. And every single victim deserves justice.
It just seems to me a little disingenuous when you're going to point, let's say, you've got the whole hotel, a whole building, it's on fire. But, but in the backyard, there's like a doghouse that's on fire. There's no dog in it, by the way. It's just a small structure. And you're telling the fire department, we need to put out the doghouse fire. Don't worry about the fucking massive apartment building that's on fire. Let's put out the doghouse. To me, that seems like you're focused on the wrong thing. What's the point of focusing on the doghouse when the whole building is on fire, right?
Well, no, I mean, I talk up on my Twitter about all forms of abuse. If there's somebody that abuses a kid, if there's a news story, I do share on that. So, but I'm just saying the specific organization, Gays Against Groomers, focuses on a specific subject. But you're right, all forms of abuse are incredibly wrong, and they should also get light shed on them, 100%.
Are you interested in firearm deaths of kids? Because that's the leading death, actually, of kids in America today.
Yeah, that's absolutely horrific. What we see every day with schools being shut up, it's absolutely horrifying.
Right, but somehow the drag show.
Children should be. Ethan, we're on the same page.
I just don't understand why the drag show is more pertinent, because you're doing a tour, right? You're doing all the right wings. You even wrote a book, for Pete's sake, called Gender Madness. Why is this topic so important when we're talking about protecting kids, and there's just these incredibly more pertinent issues, firearm deaths, the leading cause of death in kids, and you're talking about an organization with 15 to 20% of sexual predators, by my estimate. I just don't understand the focus on the drag show. Don't you think that the conservative movement is overly focused on transgender issues?
Well, I mean, there's you've just highlighted there are so many different issues in the world, and I'm trying to focus on one specific.
What is this interview? Beanie Dude is rapid fire and gotcha scenarios to try and catch this dude off guard. It's really inane. Whatever your view on the topic is. No, I think he's doing a great job for that particular reason. Actually, as a matter of fact, it comes across as gotcha questions because, again, he's doing a good job. The only reason why you're saying it's gotcha questions is because it's doing a good job and you kind of don't like his vibes. You might even end up agreeing with the other party a little bit, but you can't find yourself agreeing with that party because he's like very clearly delusional. That's the issue. That's why you're saying like, oh, it's a gotcha question. No, he's just doing a good job.
Odd. Why are they all so focused on trans issues?
Well, I mean, they talk about a lot of other issues as well, but what's happening at the moment is there is a lot of
right. They talk about a lot of issues, but I think we can all agree that that's kind of the most pertinent for them, right? Even in polls, even in polls, people say trans issues is the most important to them of conservatives. Why is that?
Well, I mean, correct, because it's
great because Ethan does a really good job of like he is the representation of like libtard politics, right? And even as like the representation of that kind of politics, like he does a really fucking good job of ridiculing his opponents by simply asking questions while also even admitting his own bias in many different respects, even saying like, oh, well, I was trying to catch you and you did a really good job of like avoiding it. You know what I mean? Like he does a very good job of like just winding down your opponent and actually offering them enough rope to hang themselves with. Not in the way that like people say that Joe Rogan does, but actually doing that. Because Joe Rogan doesn't have that ultimate goal of like giving their opponent enough rope to like hang themselves. Joe Rogan has a very clear-cut bias, and it's on the it's on the side of the people that he's having on, like the right-wing agitators.
So how do you if I haven't mentioned it, how do you justify this?
I've already gone through it.
Oh, we have talked about it. Okay. I'm just curious. Let me look at the photos. I mean, this is definitely for kids. It's pretty small. I can't even fit like a little bread in it, barely. And like, look how, I mean, these blueberries look monsters next to that. That's certainly for kids, right? Yeah. It's too small for an adult. What's that?
No, it's for anyone that likes K-pop.
For anyone that likes K-pop. But grown-ups.
Can you explain to me who's going to school under the age of, over the age of 18, like using a lunchbox?
Grown-ups like that.
Wait, you would buy a lunchbox with a trans woman on it? Why would you do that?
It's a K-pop. It's an image of a K-pop. I would buy it because it's cute. You know, I like K-pop stuff. I love Korean culture. It's a cute K-pop lunchbox.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But clearly, you're not going to be buying.
If this is real, I'm closer to Taylor Swift than Cutie Cinderella. Twice in my life now. Okay? Not only through John Mayer, but now through 1975's Maddie Healy. Oh my fucking God. I have to call Cutie. There's no way this is real. Okay, I'm sorry. We interrupt the Ollie London part of the broadcast for some breaking news that seems to be very, very relevant. Also, hopefully we will have friend of the show, Maddie Healy, on soon. Just like Maddie Healy's other friend of the show. I don't know if you're aware of the latest reports from The Sun. You're on stream right now, by the way. But Taylor Swift and 1975's Maddie Healy might be dating. What do you have to say about this?
Okay. All I have to say is there's a new rumor every second. Homegirl's on tour. How is she dating anybody?
Well, you know, people do have access to the internet.
I want you to know, I got 4 texts this morning saying, hey, is Taylor actually dating... Let me find his name.
Maddie Healy of the 1975?
No. Maddie Healy of 1975 would be sick. That'd be dope. We would love that.
Yeah, he is a friend of the show. I just hope you know that. So
Fernando Alonso. There's some soccer player that in every interview is saying that he's dating Taylor Swift. Everyone wants the girl, okay? Everyone wants her. She's a hot commodity. Honestly, I would tell you to go after her, but fuck you and your family. Except for not your family. I like your family.
What the fuck? You know my family. Why would you say that?
I know. So I took it back because I like your family a lot.
What the hell? It's a Formula One driver. Fernando Alonso is a Formula One driver.
Oh, there's a soccer player too that keeps doing it. Anyway.
Do you think they are the ones who are leaking it to the media to make it seem like to get clout?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
See what happens.
Should I ask Maddie personally if he's actually dating Taylor Swift?
I would like that, yeah. No, Hasan, don't fuck this up. Don't bother him. Because what if they are dating? I need you to keep that connection.
Wait, no, he's I don't think that would ruin the connection. I feel like he's got
like homies?
No, but he's like he's got very thick skin.
No, he's gonna think you're weird and Snoopy.
No. If anything, he probably knows he's weirder than me.
Okay, well, don't fuck it up, because if they are dating, this could be huge for us.
Okay.
As in me. This could be huge for me. I will use your relationships for my benefit.
I don't know. This is the second time, not the first, but the second time I've been closer to Taylor Swift than you, it seems.
Okay, well, you are famous and I am not. What do you want me to do?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
How does that make you
Next thing
feel?
you're going to say you're more rich than me. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I'm not going to say that because you're definitely richer than me. Everyone has seen. You're on air, by the way. Everyone has seen. It's just a quick reminder one more time. Everyone has seen your massive, fansly sponsored events that you throw. Anyone that has 400K viewers at any given moment is clearly wealthier than the person who's only reached 250K. So.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Well, okay. Well, nothing's confirmed. I'll leave it at that.
Hey, if this is real, maybe I'll invite you to the Eras tour. Okay.
Okay. Shut the fuck up.
I'm just saying. I will remember this. I will remember this when I will remember the fact that you would not offer me box seats alongside your other friends when, if this is real and if this has come to fruition.
I'm not worried about it.
Oh, okay.
But that would be really cool if they were dating. But
I'm just saying. Okay, I'm glad that you're in support of the Maddie Healy Taylor Swift rumors, though.
I am. She's loved 1975 forever.
Okay.
It'd be like if I started dating her.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Have a good stream.
All right, you too. Bye. Like, what do you think is going on, Mom? You think she, evaporated? No, I put her upstairs again. No, she wasn't, but she was about to when you walked over. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get ahead of this, and I'm going to crate her. I gave her a little bit of personal time, and now I'm going to crate her. For those of you who are watching, that was Cutie Cinderella.
What do you mean the real issue? No, but this is a real issue. Kids are suicidal because of their gender dysphoria. I mean, that's a real issue.
But Ethan, what I'm trying to say is if you put a vulnerable kid that's already struggling with a mental health on very high doses of hormones.
Maddie Healy is a fan of certain center-left podcasts, including center-left commentators such as myself. Center-left podcasts such as Cumtown, and center-left podcasters and broadcasters such as myself.
Has it ever happened? Has a child transitioning ever saved a child's life?
Well, you need to address the mental health issues. If a kid is
has it ever saved a child's life?
Or did I say Cumtown? Yeah. Fuck, Cumtown is not center-left. Cumtown is actually progressive left. This is the new show, the Adam Friedland show, which is totally unaffiliated with the Cumtown. What is Cumtown? I don't even know what Cumtown is. I fucked it up. I'm so sorry.
Transitioning saved their life. Even one of them. Why would you support a movement that outlaws it? You support legislation that makes it illegal. Why is that?
Because firstly, these are kids. They cannot consent to this. They do not understand the long-term consequences. But you don't look at what happens later down the line, Ethan, like 6 years down the line.
We got to stick on this point. You said that transitioning has saved a child's life. Let's forget about all the other static. Let's forget about all the other static. Why is it that you would want to outlaw a medical procedure that saved a child's life? That's not kind, is it?
No, you have to support the kids' mental health, but you cannot put them on hormones.
Do you believe that it should be illegal? Do you believe that it should be illegal for kids to transition?
I believe for medical transitions, it should be 18 plus, yes.
Even if the kid is going to kill himself, as you admitted, it saved the child's life. You said that. So you believe this kid should kill themselves rather than transition?
Absolutely not. Don't try to put words in my mouth. Kids need mental health.
No, hey, I'm not trying to put any words in your mouth. I'm just trying to reconcile. You are saying, on one hand, that transitioning saved the kid's life, and also saying that transitioning shouldn't be allowed until they're 18 plus. So this child has no recourse other than to kill themselves in this hypothetical situation we've created.
In this hypothetical situation, instead of that, actually take the kids to somewhere that's a safe place where they can be surrounded by therapists.
Right, they do that. But again, I don't want to focus on the static because this is a real situation. And let's say, even if it's just one kid, again, let's stay focused here, Ollie. One kid saved his life. You're telling that kid you cannot get that procedure. That's correct?
I'm saying that kids can't consent to this. Kids need better mental health support. So there should be a focus on
18
mental
plus.
health
You're
support
saying this
rather
kid
than
cannot get the
medical
procedure that
transition.
saved his life. That's what you're
I'm
saying.
saying that it should. I'm saying that 18 plus for all procedures on kids because kids cannot consent. So they need mental health support instead.
Well, right. So the kid would kill himself.
No, you give the kid.
But then
mental
why
health
did you
support
say that
and
it
protect
saves
them.
kids' lives, Ollie? Don't you understand? You're not making sense.
I'm saying that there will be some kids that may feel better and feel like their life has been saved after that. But
you agreed with me, Ollie, just a few minutes ago that transitioning has saved kids' lives.
Oh, like anything in life, it can save lives, but also a lot of people.
Like anything in life, what does that mean?
A thing.
What else?
A lot of people will become suicidal later down the line because their body is completely messed up. There, so many different issues
He's
with
like
their health.
not suicidal now, which is really happening, but like, what about a hypothetical suicide later in life that hasn't happened that could happen potentially?
Consent. Kids.
That's how we offset suicide.
Kids can't consent to anything. What are we doing?
correct.
We're not allowing them to. Kids can't consent to go to church. Kid can't consent to go to school. Kids can't consent to anything. We as parents make the best decision we can for the welfare of the kid. Don't you agree? I mean, this whole idea of consent is kind of moot when you consider all the things kids do in their lives every day.
Well, it's like a little kid that wants to be a dinosaur. Do you suddenly give him a surgery?
Do you think that wanting to be a dinosaur is comparable to gender dysphoria, which is a known medical condition?
I'm saying that some kids.
You said
go through
it's like
phases.
kids wanting to be dinosaurs, Ollie. I don't understand the comparison.
Well, no, it is. It's like some kids change their mind about certain things. They're not mature enough to make these decisions.
Do
So
you think
a kid might
wanting
say
to
their
be a
parents-
dinosaur is comparable to being trans?
I'm saying if a 10-year-old kid dresses up as a dinosaur every day, they tell their dad they're a Tyrannosaurus.
Has that happened? Can you cite that happening?
You've been speaking about theoretical things. I'm speaking about
no. Well, we're talking about theoretical.
Would you transition a child?
We're talking about theoretical situations, but they are happening in the real world. There are kids whose lives are being saved because, and this is the small amount of kids who undergo it, very small amount, that do it under doctors' supervision and panels and stuff, that it's saving their lives. This is happening, okay? People are not, as far as I know, and maybe you can correct me, saying I'm a dinosaur, I need to transition into a dinosaur.
No, I'm saying, kids want different things. They don't understand or comprehend.
I notice you're saying I'm saying a lot. You say things, but you don't like to stay accountable to it. You say, no, I'm saying this. No, I'm saying this. No, I'm saying this. Why won't you give me definitive answers?
Well, I'm equating it. You know what? It is the same. If a child wants to be a dinosaur, you don't cut off their
it's the same
body parts.
It's the same.
It's the same as being
gender.
It's the same as medically transitioning a child and giving them
Good.
surgery.
Good. I'm glad you said that. Gender dysmorphia is a known medical condition. Is there any literature about transitioning to be a dinosaur? Not that you know of. Right. But you said it's the same. But clearly it's not, right? Because
no, I'm equating
transitioning is accepted.
I'm equating a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm equating a kid identifying in a different way. You don't just suddenly say, if a kid feels a certain way, oh, we're going to do this operation, we're going to give you hormones. Kids
of
can't
course,
consent.
that doesn't
if they
happen,
generally
Ollie.
feel like that
That doesn't happen.
Do it as an adult.
That doesn't happen. You have a child who's experiencing gender dysmorphia so severe that they're going to kill themselves. Dysphoria, excuse me. They're undergoing panels and doctors and stuff. And this kid, we know, and this has happened, either we intervene or the child kills themselves. What's your decision?
Most kids grow out of gender
That's
dysphoria.
not what I asked. Why can't you answer? Most kids do
I'm
not
saying
grow
most
out of
kids-
gender dysmorphia. Not only 99. Oh, that's a small number of them, and 99% who get the operations don't regret it. You have to answer this, Ollie. This is important. If there's a child that's going to kill itself unless it gets gender-affirming care, what is your decision? Let
there's
them
a study.
give them the treatment or not?
This is a great trap.
No, you give them mental health support instead. You do not.
No. That's not what I'm asking. If this kid is suicidal, which is a known phenomenon, this happens. Do you let them get the treatment, or do you make them wait till they're 18?
You give them other support instead. That's
So they
my
kill
answer.
themselves.
No,
How is that
you prevent
kind,
that because you
Ollie?
give them mental health.
How is that kind that you're letting children kill themselves instead of letting them get gender-affirming, life-saving care, which, by the way, happens only irreversible gender care, gender surgeries and stuff only happens like 250 times a year.
No, it doesn't. It happens.
Well, you have
thousands of
no
times,
statistics to back that up.
Well, there's a clinic in Oregon. I can send you the statistics of. There's a clinic in Oregon that does at least 300 surgeries on kids a year. So that's just one clinic.
That's impossible. That's not true.
There's 60 clinics in the US that are pediatric.
Over years. Yes, 60
kids.
over years. So, but again,
No,
there's 50 million kids in America, Ollie. That's not a lot.
But I'm saying there's 60 gender clinics that are performing these surgeries every single week across the country. So look it up and see how many.
Let's say that of the 1,000, there's 10 kids who are going to kill themselves. Do we let them get this treatment or not?
Again, you give the kids mental health support.
You're choosing for them to kill themselves, Ollie.
No, I'm not. Don't try to say that because
you are. But that's what you're saying, Ollie.
I'm not saying
that is what you're saying. You're
kids,
denying them life-saving, gender-affirming care.
No, I'm saying give the kids mental health support. Until
you're saying use this avenue that doesn't work, that's not going to work to prevent you from killing yourself. You're telling them.
Also, gender-affirming care is a part of a comprehensive healthcare solution.
You can only do the therapy that I approve of.
It's like saying, if let's say there's someone who's a schizophrenic, right? And the doctor is prescribing lithium, and Ollie's like, no lithium, only prayer and also whatever form of therapy he finds to be enough. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? It's just like, that's how comprehensive healthcare works. Sometimes you actually do medical intervention beyond just like therapy sessions.
The times it is reversible.
Lithium is for bipolar, sorry, not schizophrenia, right? Lithium is for bipolar disorder. I fucked it up.
Care under doctor supervision. You want this kid to kill themselves.
Actually, for both. I'm pretty sure lithium can be used for schizophrenia too. Mood regulation in general.
That you're a part of. You sold yourself out for some attention and some money, and you are dooming kids to kill themselves. How do you live with that? Before it was cute, silly stuff about transracial and BTS and pop stuff, and it was just silly nonsense about little racist stuff about Korean people having tiny penises.
Coming off.
But now you're actually delving into transphobic, violent transphobia that is going to result in kids dying. You're going to have to reckon with that, Ollie.
No, absolutely not. You're trying to paint me out as saying this.
I'm only saying what you said.
Cannot consent. No, Ethan.
Kids can't consent to anything.
Kids cannot consent to irreversible hormones or surgeries, Ethan.
Okay, a kid needs to get his leg removed because he has leg cancer. Should he be able to get the leg removed?
Well, if he has a cancer, yes.
Okay, so what's the fucking difference? He can't consent to have his leg removed. That's irreversible.
Well, many of these kids are being pushed into it. Many grow out of gender dysphoria. If you Google right now...
But I'm telling you, kids kill themselves if they don't get this treatment. In the rare case that it's that severe, about 250 a year.
Well, show me... Okay, pull up a case then.
I'm sure we can do that. That's not a problem. Give me 1 second.
Wait, what? Pull up a case?
Gender-affirming care is mental health support.
What is Ollie gonna do? What is Ollie gonna do? Be like, actually, fuck that kid. Like,
psychiatry.
That kid had bad vibes. He should have killed himself. Like, is that what you're gonna do? He's like, give me an anecdote, please, so I can fucking rip it apart.
With
like,
dysmorphia is gender-affirming care. Do you know more than Pediatrics Association and Psychiatrists Association?
Yeah, because all of these companies, they made $2.2 billion transitioning kids last year. So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry with a lot of power.
So people make money from it. So therefore, we shouldn't let kids save their lives.
No, you can provide. I'm not going to keep going about this.
That's a great question. We'd be like, okay, people make money off of fucking cancer treatment. No more chemotherapy. Sorry.
Reversible issues, and when they
you're right. We
adults,
should make it free. You're right. People shouldn't be charged for it.
I agree. Oh my God!
No.
He just shut the fuck.
I'm just not going to keep going on about the same thing, Ethan. I need to go anyway. It's quite late.
Ollie,
he just shut the fuck up. That's
I
awesome.
want to tell you something. You really have sold your soul in this one. You know what I mean? Like before it was
Ethan,
cute
I
and
haven't sold
innocent,
my
but this
soul. I'm
new
trying to
one
help
is
people.
really sick. And I mean, the
Ethan.
galls of you to sell a fucking lunch pail with a trans person on it while telling people that they're grooming kids. I mean, you're just a fucking hypocrite, dude.
Ethan, you said some horrific comments about Ben Shapiro saying that he should be gassed
I'm-
like in the Holocaust. So you shouldn't be
I didn't say
lecturing people
that.
on what to say.
I said,
you
I'll tell you exactly what I said. And how dare you say such a... I don't care.
that.
I made a joke
Ethan,
that
you said that about Ben Shapiro.
he's perpetuating anti-Semitism, and therefore, if there's another, then he can go, and I'd be
But it's
happy
not something
to
to joke about,
to
Ethan.
go
It's
right
not
behind
something
him.
to joke
I am
about.
Jewish though, so chill out.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying it's not something to joke about. So, when you're trying to criticize for me for certain things,
So-
you've also said some things that are very harmful as well.
Well, hold
so you should
on.
also take accountability.
So you're
What?
admitting that what you say about trans people is offensive.
No, I'm talking
Well,
about
how
my
is it
past
comparable to what I
behaviors have
said?
been harmful. I'm talking about my past behaviors, have been harmful.
I'm
but
not talking
addressing
about
that
your
now
past
and trying to
behavior.
help
I'm
people.
talking about what you're doing now that endangers children because you're trying to make a
Now
quick
I'm helping
buck.
people. I'm helping people, Ethan.
You're helping Tucker Carlson spread propaganda that's going to kill trans people. And you're selling a book called Gender Madness. After you, how long have you been how long have you been a man? How long have you been detransitioned? And you're writing a book already?
It's been 7 months.
7
But I
months,
would-
Ollie? I mean, you were trans
I-
for years. How are you going to spend 7 months as a man and then presume to tell people how to live their lives? That
Also, we got more Tucker Carlson leaks. Holy fuck. More Tucker Carlson leaks coming from Fox News.
so long.
Yeah, but the book is about how I got to where I was, what led me to that, and how people struggle with different identities. It's actually a self-help book, so it's very positive, empowering
Gender
about
Madness.
different ways people can help themselves.
Gender Madness. Here's your best friend, Jamie Mitchell, who's the founder of Gays Against Groomers, supporting... well, here, just
What's
watch.
happening now would make, I think Joseph Mengele, I believe that was his name, the Nazi doctor. He, this puts him to shame.
Do you believe that's an appropriate analogy?
Well, Joseph Mengele tortured and performed horrific medical procedures on kids. What
Jewish
they're doing
kids
today.
during the Holocaust.
He also committed a genocide against trans people, by the way.
He committed a genocide against trans people as well.
He killed a
Well,
lot
if
of
jokes
LGBT
about the
people.
Holocaust...
That shit's so fucked up, actually. That's one of the most nefarious and awful ways that these pieces of shit
lab
talk.
rats for this sick ideology. And
She sounds
they're full
like
steam
him right now.
Like,
Any abuse
Joseph
of
Mengele.
kids,
within an
any
they see us as a
experimentation on
definite
kids is
roadblock,
wrong.
and a threat to that.
Ollie London's like, leukemia, let them fucking die, okay? Ollie London is like, leukemia, let's let them kill children instead. Any medical experimentation in regards to like a cure, fucking kill them, dude. What do you mean?
And we
do you believe that doctors are performing Nazi-like experiments on trans kids?
Doctors are experimenting on kids.
To what
and,
end? What is the experiment?
Any medical mutilation on kids is bad. And,
An experiment
long-term
underlies
data,
a thesis. What is their thesis?
I'm saying there's no long-term data on how does this affect a
Yes,
kid's
there
body
is.
20 years
99%
down the
don't
line.
regret it. 27.
How does this affect a kid 20 years down the line? Because
They're happy.
we see issues.
99% are happy.
We see issues with their
27
bone
studies.
density. Look at the study by Dr. Bradley, Canadian. She was the pioneer for performing these gender-affirming cares on kids.
What if I
since
told you Dr.
1970.
Bradley was a quack?
Well, they're all quacks. Anyone that
Oh,
experiments on kids in the first place is a quack.
All right, Ollie. We're going to... Anyway, thank you for spending your time. I do appreciate you coming on.
No,
But
it's good to talk.
it was something.
I think he
But
ripped
I
them. I think he ripped Ollie, but notice how Ollie, like I said, is a more like Ollie London looks weird and is not like the best person as far as like the best speaker. But given the area that he occupies, given the area that he occupies, it's very hard to go up against like transphobic motherfuckers because you're going up against a person that is like pretty much borderline schizophrenic, right? Like you're talking to someone with mental delusions and they are going to constantly pull you into like their delusions and have you address their delusions. And it's like, well, I can't argue against your own fucking world, man. Like you made up half this shit. It's literally like arguing against flat earthers, right? That's how it works. Like if your grift has no basis in reality and it's just like inherently harmful and all it is there to do is just like, push more harmful propaganda, it's very difficult to argue against them, right? Like he basically made up, child experiments happening on children that's like bad. He lied about a whole bunch of shit. But even then, that's why I said it's like very difficult. That's the same thing conservatives say about us leftists, though. I mean, it doesn't matter. The conservatives can say whatever the fuck they want. We're currently talking about conservatives and their mania. It's difficult to argue against transphobic people like this because they're in a totally different league. It's like arguing against a flat earther. They're going to give you junk science. You need to know the junk science and address it. If you haven't studied the junk science, it makes it very difficult. Same with like super transphobic people. So even someone as stupid as Ollie London could come across as like coherent in some ways, even though he's like insane, right? And I think that's what happened here with Ethan. But Ethan still did a very good job of addressing a lot of the most unhinged parts of this conversation. It's of course going to be like less, I guess, content and less punchy than, for example, debating that other cult guy. But he did a great job. He did a fucking fantastic job. This is why ContraPoints isn't speaking on trans issues anymore. She started talking to brick walls to try and spread her message to all us NPCs in the world, all the way back from Blair White incident to currently the Megan incident is just awfulness. I don't know what the current Megan incident is, but I know why ContraPoints doesn't talk about trans issues. I can tell you why. Because she's trans. And like it or not, and I'm sorry, get mad at me if you want, but trans people are ruthless to other trans people. Like, trans people are ultimately much more understanding and much more forgiving of cis people because they recognize that the normative position is that cis people are transphobic. So when you have a cis person who's not transphobic, but like will fuck up every now and then, trans people will oftentimes still look at it with like a very critical lens, but are way more forgiving. ContraPoints, on the other hand, comes across as the authority of trans issues to a broader cis audience, and a lot of people get mad at that. You know what I mean? And this doesn't mean that like ContraPoints hasn't done anything cringe or bad or wrong. Every now and then, she'll appear on a fucking Hillary Clinton video, and I'm like, wow, that's not great. But ultimately, I think she's great. You know what I mean? She has disagreements on MB stuff or MB related issues, I think. But like I said, ultimately, you got to look at the broader. You have to look at the broader content that this person has provided. Anyway, I don't want to get too super deep into like trans issues, especially because like I feel as though there are a lot of like it feels like you're monolithizing trans people like in that analysis. Not gonna lie, yeah, a little bit. But I mean, what? If there's one monolith that actually absolutely sticks amongst trans people, is that trans people love fucking yelling at other trans people for having, like minor disagreements over trans issues. Is that not true? Go to any trans space and bring up one point of contention and see how that works. And on top of that, I think trans people, this is from my own personal, observation as a cis person. Trans people are a little bit more understanding of cis people than they are of trans people, other trans people, trans content creators in general. Yeah, trans people are very leftist, and a lot of them are. So that's not that surprising. What are those points of contention? Not today. What a good one, dude. I love that. Yeah, okay. You think I'm gonna engage in that? No. Get the fuck out of here. I'm dodging that shit. I don't know, trans places are usually very accepting. Maybe you're only talking Twitter. Yes, of course I'm talking about Twitter. But also, Twitter is probably one of the most significant trans spaces anywhere. Trans people don't have a lot of safe spaces in their real lives, in the physical space that they exist in. So, online communities are where a lot of trans people gather and have safety and can communicate with one another, get resources.